Good evening. This is the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and our focus tonight is on the elections in Delhi, which have reached a feverish pitch. The Aam Aadmi Party, the BJP and the Congress going all out to woo the voter for the last time before they go to the polls. Just 5 days to go, so we'll be talking about that with a special guest. Also, a host of other stories. Sushma Swaraj, the External Affairs Minister, is in China. We'll be talking about that as well. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Feverish campaigning on in Delhi for the assembly elections. The poll pitch becomes shriller amid controversial ads and election commission notices. With just days to go for the polls, allegations are flying thick and fast. The AAP was today accused of money laundering by its own breakaway faction. India, China and Russia agree towards enhanced cooperation on terror as China warms up to India during External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj's visit to Beijing. And the world, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, expressed horror over the execution of a Japanese national by the Islamic State. Japan reassesses its strategy to deal with terrorism. Well, a top story. Political parties have stepped up attacks against each other ahead of the Delhi polls. The Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP were locked in a war of words today over an advertisement by the Saffron Party mocking its chief Arvind Kejriwal. The Aam Aadmi Party moved the Election Commission to file a complaint against the party for allegedly attacking the Agarwal community. The BJP too moved the poll panel alleging that AAP has been violating the Model Code of Conduct to give casteist and religious tones to the advertisement.
A new BJP advertisement has sparked controversy again ahead of the Delhi Assembly polls. The advertisement, which is third in a series released by the BJP, shows Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal belonging to Updravi Gotra or the anarchist subcaste. It also makes reference to his threat to stall Republic Day celebrations last year. Aam Aadmi Party hit out at the BJP. Kejriwal called a meeting of top party leaders at his residence on Monday morning. The party then decided to move the Election Commission, accusing the BJP of insulting the entire Agarwal community to which Kejriwal belongs.
इसमें तो इन्होंने हद कर दी है। उन्होंने पूरे अग्रवाल समाज को उपद्रवी बताया है। उन्होंने लिखा है कि मैं उपद्रवी गोत्र से हूँ। भाजपा की लड़ाई मुझसे हो सकती है। उन्हें जो कहना मेरे बारे में कहे। वो पूरे अग्रवाल समाज को उपद्रवी कैसे कह सकते हैं? भारतीय जनता पार्टी को पूरे अग्रवाल समाज से माफी मांगनी चाहिए और इसकी शिकायत हम इलेक्शन कमीशन से करेंगे।
Meanwhile, the BJP too moved the Election Commission to file a complaint against the Aam Aadmi Party. The party alleges that AAP has violated the Model Code of Conduct by giving a casteist and religious overtone to what they claim is a political statement.
An advertisement by the Bharatiya Janata Party which alluded to the Aam Aadmi Party's anarchist and obstructionist behavior. The anarchist attitude, mindset and behavior of the Aam Aadmi Party has sought to be twisted by the Aam Aadmi Party into a religious and casteist overtone, which is deplorable. We have complained to the Honorable Election Commission.
Meanwhile, the Congress also hit out at the BJP, saying the party is trying to divide the society on the basis of caste and community. Last week, AAP took a swipe at the BJP for another newspaper advertisement in which Anna Hazare's sketch was shown with a garland. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And we have with us Sanjay Singh, he's the political editor for First Post, to help us understand this war of words. Sanjay, the rhetoric is really become sharp in Delhi and accusations flying thick and fast. And it's the advertisements one day, it's the Election Commission notices. But the issues seem to have gone to the sideline in this personality clash.
See, Bishan, this is one election in Delhi which is very closely contested. I don't remember any election in previous 15 or 20 years which has been so closely contested. Now, personalities of course are important because as it is, this was to be a 3-leg race in previous elections. Now it's 2-leg race whereby Arvind Kejriwal has willy-nilly become central figure in these elections vis-a-vis Kiran Bedi or Narendra Modi, so to say. Not so much of BJP of course wants Narendra Modi out to be to be there. But now you are talking about the ads, controversial ads, but I estimate that BJP has consciously gone for these ads. On one hand, they are giving every day there are two kinds of ads, one giving the positive construct and another hitting hard at Arvind Kejriwal's whatever he said in past and whatever was his plank. Now this casteist, taking a casteist color of that particular ad, that is very interesting, I think.
All right, Sajay, if we just talk about the BJP for now, the BJP has almost made this into a very prestigious issue, the assembly elections in Delhi. There are 120 MPs out there, that central ministers addressing press conference in the Delhi BJP headquarters, and the Delhi BJP leadership's feeling slightly sidelined, don't you think so?
Yeah, Ishan, you are right in the sense that BJP's chief ministerial candidate Kiran Bedi and party Delhi unit was not in sync. So far they are not completely in sync, and therefore there was this particular attempt, and Kiran Bedi in the meanwhile also had sore throat problem. So therefore BJP had to field I suppose so many leaders also to give an impression that party is united, cohesive, whether or not the state unit was acting in tandem or was acting enthusiastically, so to say, because it is the workers at large who actually go to door, they manage booths, and there was not so much of excitement and enthusiasm. So therefore people from outside came. In fact, everybody was talking to the leaders who were drafted into BJP's election campaign, were kind of also micromanaging.
All right, so BJP deploying all tactics to win this Delhi Assembly elections. Sanjay, we'll ask you to stay on because we want to talk about the Aam Aadmi Party as well. Because the Aam Aadmi Party, just 5 days ahead of the voting in the Delhi Assembly, the AAP finds itself in the midst of another controversy. Now, this time the party's breakaway group, the Aam Aadmi Party Volunteer Action Manch or AWAM, has accused the AAP of money laundering. They allege that the party received donations from 4 bogus companies. But the AAP has denied all the allegations and said that all transactions are legit.
The AAP Volunteer Action Manch or AVAM has accused the Aam Aadmi Party of some serious charges. AVAM claims that the party received donations of 50 lakh rupees each from 4 bogus companies. These companies are said to have received the money just days before they made the donations, hinting at a money laundering scheme. The group has also claimed that addresses of several companies listed on the AAP website have bogus addresses.
कंपनी बोगस है, कंपनी की कोई कमाई नहीं है, 1 पैसे की इनकम नहीं है, पैसा जिस दिन दिया गया उससे ही थोड़ी दिन पहले पैसा आया, ये दिस इज मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग.
Aam Aadmi Party has denied the allegations and claimed that the revelations are nothing but an attempt to malign the party's image ahead of polls.
During elections, these things do come up because they don't have any issues. They don't know talk about electricity. They don't know talk about water and other issues. So they will keep coming like this. This shows that the BJP is desperate and losing badly.
AAP's biggest opponent, the BJP, did not let go of the opportunity to malign it. The BJP says the Aam Aadmi Party has a complete mechanism to turn black money into white, one that involves its convener, Arvind Kejriwal.
ये बेबुनियाद तरीका, अवैध तरीका और एकदम कानून का उल्लंघन करते हुए ये जो डोनेशंस आम आदमी पार्टी ने कलेक्ट किए हैं, इससे पूरी तरीके से आज उनका झूठ, उनका नकाब पर्दाफाश हो गया है.
AVAM is a group of volunteers that broke away from Aam Aadmi Party in August last year. At the time, they claimed that there was a lack of Swaraj within the organization. Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Aam Aadmi Party is holding a press conference. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party leader Yogendra Yadav is speaking about this entire AWAM controversy. So let's listen in.
दैव की तरह जो हमारी सामान्य प्रक्रिया है कि जब भी कोई हमें पेमेंट होता है, हम उसका एक अमाउंट के ऊपर का पेमेंट होता है, हम पैन नंबर लेते हैं. वही हमने इस केस में किया. हम जैसे ही वो पैसा हमारे पास पहुंचता है, हम उसे सार्वजनिक कर देते हैं. देश की कोई पार्टी ये नहीं करती. वेबसाइट पे डाल देते हैं. जैसे ही ये बात हम अपने डोनर को बताते हैं, आधे से ज्यादा डोनर कहते हैं ना बाबा आपकी पार्टी को हम पैसा नहीं देंगे. हम कहते हैं कोई बात नहीं, ये आम आदमी पार्टी है, ये तो चीजों को सार्वजनिक करे ही करेगी. इस केस में हमने सार्वजनिक किया. आज जिन सब तथ्यों का सहारा लेके 3-3 प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बीजेपी ने की हैं, वो आम आदमी पार्टी के सार्वजनिक किए हुए तथ्य थे. हमने बताया था दुनिया को कि ये तथ्य हैं. अगर हमें कुछ छुपाने को होता हम क्यों इसे वेबसाइट पे डालते? आम आदमी पार्टी की एक जो तकनीक है वो ये कि जितने भी चेक उस दिन जमा होते हैं बैंक में, वो सब चेक एक बंच बना के रात को डिक्लेयर किए जाते हैं। इसलिए वो रात 12 बजे का समय दिख रहा है। ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि रात 12 बजे आके किसी ने ट्रांजैक्शन किया, हमें पैसा दिया है। चेक उस दिन बैंक में जमा हुए थे और सारे जितने भी 10, 20, 50 चेक उस दिन आए होते हैं, सबको एक सॉफ्टवेयर के जरिए, सॉफ्टवेयर ही ऐसा बना हुआ है कि वो रात को 12 बजे अपलोड करता है उस दिन के जितने भी चेक रियलाइज होते हैं। इसके बारे में पता नहीं कैसे कैसे हेडलाइंस चल रहे हैं, कैसी कैसी बातें चल रही हैं। कोई 2 मिनट हमसे पूछ लेता तो बता देते कि बात क्या थी। ये तमाम मुद्दों पे आम आदमी पार्टी ने इस मामले में वैसी ही पारदर्शिता बरती है जैसी कि किसी भी और मामले में।
All right, so that was Yogendra Yadav addressing a press conference explaining that as far as the allegations are by the Aam Aadmi Volunteer Breakaway Group are concerned about money laundering, those certainly aren't true. The Aam Aadmi Party has been transparent in all its dealing. And we have with us Sanjay Singh, a political editor of First Post. Sanjay, the Aam Aadmi Party is certainly bothered by these allegations because ultimately it's the corruption issue, it's the issue of who's more honest, and between Kejriwal and Kiran Bedi, that gets a little difficult to decide. But allegations once again flying thick and fast.
Ishan, actually issue is far more serious for Aam Aadmi Party because Aam Aadmi Party was came into existence on issue of on plank of transparency and probity. Here this is an issue where Aam Aadmi Party's explanation as given by Yogendra Yadav just now and throughout the day is not appearing to be very convincing. Because after all 50 lakh rupees, 4 checks of 50 lakh rupees amounting to 2 crore is not a small amount. Actually, Aam Aadmi Party should have verified as to who is paying that much of money to the party.
Right.
I think this happens in all the parties, direct payment or indirect payment or whatever, through whatever means. Parties actually know, people actually know as to who is giving that kind of money. But here, for elections, which is actual polling is just 5 days away from now, and this particular episode coming out there, Aam Aadmi Party is trying to play victim. Arvind Kejriwal in that sense, this morning, first thing he said that this was an attack on that particular ad on whole of Agarwal community.
Right.
That again was not very convincing because Agarwal community, Arvind Kejriwal can't claim to be representative of whole of Agarwal community. But again, that is politics. That's how you play to people's psyche and reach out to influence their minds. Again, Aam Aadmi Party is trying to put up a brave face. I should compliment them for kind of coming with a reply which they think is very cohesive. But this kind of thing coming 5 days ahead of elections may influence a section of voters which could be decisive.
All right, the decisive fence sitters, as often is used in election parlance, could be the deciding factor. Sanjay Singh, every effort is being made to woo them. But thanks very much for coming in and helping us understand the politics in Delhi a little better. Thanks so much. All right, moving on. The Delhi High Court in fact issued a notice to Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal on a plea seeking cancellation of his candidature for the Delhi polls. Now, the notice has been issued on the plea of Congress leader Kiran Walia. Walia has claimed that Kejriwal cannot contest from New Delhi as he is a resident of Uttar Pradesh. Walia also said Kejriwal has committed a fraud by submitting a false affidavit to the Election Commission that he is a permanent resident of Piket colony. The court has also issued notices to the Election Commission, the Chief Electoral Officer and 5 others over Kejriwal's name being included in the list of candidates. Walia is contesting from the New Delhi seat where Arvind Kejriwal is also a candidate.
ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी एक अचीवमेंट है क्योंकि वो उनको तो नोटिस कोई दे नहीं सकता था ना, इलेक्शन कमीशन या कोई और नोटिस दे नहीं रहे थे। रोज वो धज्जियां उड़ा रहे कानून की, कानूनी संस्थाओं की और संविधान की।
अरविंद जी को आप लोग जानते हैं, वो इतने पिछले 1.5-2 सालों से लगातार अपने नई दिल्ली कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में कैंपेन कर रहे हैं। जिस जगह पर रहकर उन्होंने कैंपेन किया उस जगह का एड्रेस है, उसमें क्या गड़बड़ है?
Now, hours after sparking controversy by resigning from his post as campaign aide to BJP's Delhi Chief Ministerial candidate Kiran Bedi, Narendra Tandon withdrew his resignation. Tandon said that he would continue to work for the party in the coming days. Reports said that Tandon could also apologize for the resignation letter he wrote to BJP President Amit Shah earlier in the day, in which he'd accused the BJP's Chief Ministerial candidate of being dictatorial. The Delhi BJP had hit back over the resignation, saying that Tandon had resigned thrice earlier as well.
मैं पार्टी का निष्ठावान कार्यकर्ता था, कार्यकर्ता रहूंगा। इमोशनली मुझे किसी जगह लगा और मैंने इस तरह का पत्र राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जी को लिखा और मैं उस पत्र को वापस ले रहा हूं और पार्टी का काम जिस प्रकार कर रहा था वैसे ही करता रहूंगा।
It's time now to take a look at some other stories from across the country and nationwide. Two police officers were killed and 6 constables injured in an encounter between Maoists and the BSF in Chhattisgarh's Bastar region. The team of officers were on motorbikes on a search operation when Maoists ambushed them. Additional forces have been rushed to the spot. An Indian Army helicopter Cheetah crashed in Dimapur district of Nagaland. 2 pilots and an army officer escaped the crash unhurt. An inquiry has been ordered into the crash. The Cheetah was on a routine sortie when it crashed from a height of about 10 to 12 feet. Fresh snowfall on Monday closed the Srinagar-Jammu highway. The Met Department has forecast heavy snowfall in the valley in the next 24 hours. Avalanche warning has also been issued in some areas of the Doda district. Continuing snowfall also caused poor visibility, disrupting air traffic in the valley. The St. Alphonsus Church in Delhi's Vasant Kunj area was allegedly vandalized on Monday. The 5th attack on a church since December comes just 5 days before the elections in Delhi. The Delhi police has registered a case of robbery, but church authorities claimed unidentified people jumped in, broke open the main gate of the church and ransacked the sacristy cupboards and other properties. 91 children have escaped from a juvenile rehabilitation centre in Meerut today. 43 of them have been rearrested during search operations by the police. Guards at the centre were suspended as the police continued its search for the missing others. There were 185 juveniles at the centre, which was known for being overloaded beyond the permissible number of under-trial children. It's time for a very quick break right now. Coming up on the other side, all the international news. Egypt has freed one Al Jazeera journalist after 400 days in prison, but the fate of 2 others still hangs in the balance. More on that on the other side.
देखिए हमारी खास पेशकश बीटिंग रिट्रीट वतन का राग आज रात 10:30 बजे सिर्फ राज्यसभा।
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, the 13th Russia-India-China Foreign Minister trilateral meeting concluded in Beijing today, with all 3 countries making a united pitch to bring justice to perpetrators and sponsors of terror acts. They also agreed to enhance trilateral cooperation, including regional connectivity. Significantly ahead of the meeting, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj was received warmly by Chinese President Xi Jinping, who broke protocol to meet her.
India, Russia and China making a clarion call against terrorism. The 3 sides called for an early conclusion of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism as the 13th Russia-India-China Foreign Minister trilateral meeting concluded in Beijing. CCIT is a resolution moved by India to address gaps in international legal framework against terrorism, with an objective to strengthen cooperation to combat terrorism globally.
1996 में भारत ने संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ में एक प्रस्ताव दिया था, कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव कन्वेंशन ऑन इंटरनेशनल टेररिज्म। वो पिछले 19 वर्षों से पड़ा है, आगे नहीं बढ़ा। क्या आज आरआईसी के तीनों विदेश मंत्री इस पर एक समझ बना सकते हैं कि इसको जल्दी कंक्लूड किया जाए? मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूं अपने दोनों साथी विदेश मंत्रियों का कि दोनों ने इस बात को भी स्वीकार किया।
Earlier in the day, Chinese President Xi Jinping received Sushma Swaraj personally ahead of the meet. This was a break from the protocol. It's rare for Chinese President to meet a visiting foreign minister. Certainly a positive sign as India and China step up cooperation and implement the agreements reached between President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi last year.
We will make it easier for Chinese companies to do business in India and expect that similar encouragement will be given to our companies to expand their business in China.
开放而不封闭，包容而不排他，共赢而非零和。
Sushma and Jinping discussed the modalities for opening second route for Kailash Mansarovar Yatra via Sikkim by June. This will allow more Indians to undertake the pilgrimage. They also agreed to make efforts to resolve the border dispute at the earliest. There were also talks on reviewing the implementation process for various commitments made by China, including $20 billion investments in 2 industrial parks and cooperation for modernization of Indian railways. On the sidelines of the meet, Sushma also met her Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Officials said their talk centered on the vision document called Druzhba Dosti, aimed at strengthening the Indo-Russian partnership over the next decade. The document focused on further cooperation in energy, technology and innovation, expanded economic engagement and global order and world peace. Sushma Swaraj arrived in Beijing on Saturday for a 4-day visit to lay the groundwork for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's maiden visit to China, which is expected in May. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Al Jazeera journalist Peter Grest was freed from an Egyptian prison after 400 days in captivity. However, concerns remain for Grest's 2 other colleagues who remain in jail. They were accused of association with the Muslim Brotherhood that led to the trio's conviction in June 2014.
The family of Peter Greste heaved a sigh of relief after the Australian journalist was released from an Egyptian prison on Sunday. The Al Jazeera journalist was freed and deported on Sunday. He landed safely in Cyprus on his way to his native Australia.
He thanked the Australian government, the public of Australia and particularly the journalists who had rallied to his cause, and he told me that it had sustained him through the very long time that he spent in jail, over 12 months.
Despite the release of Greste, there was no official word on the fate of his 2 Al Jazeera colleagues still in captivity. Canadian-Egyptian Mohammed Fahmy and Egyptian national Bahir Mohammed were also jailed in the case that provoked an international outcry.
Straight up, he's not going to forget his 2 other colleagues. There's no doubt that his excitement is tempered and restrained and will be until those guys are free. So he won't give up until Bahir and Mohammed are out of there either.
That injustice needs to come to an end. They are guilty of nothing apart from great journalism.
Greste was released unconditionally from Cairo's Tora prison by Egypt's military-backed government on Sunday. As an Australian national, he was deported under the terms of a recently enacted presidential decree. Greste's colleague Fahmy, who holds dual Egyptian and Canadian citizenship, could be freed if he renounces his Egyptian nationality. But there are still concerns about Mohammed, an Egyptian who holds no dual nationality. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
An Egyptian court today upheld the death sentences for 183 Muslim Brotherhood supporters. They were convicted of killing 13 people in violent attacks at a police station near Cairo in 2013. The attack took place following a military crackdown on Morsi supporters in July 2013. Over 140 defendants are already in custody. Altogether, there were 188 defendants in the case. The court has also sentenced a minor to 10 years in prison. Even though hundreds of death sentences have been passed on Morsi's supporters, very few have been carried out just yet. Now, there's outrage in Japan over the beheading of a Japanese hostage, Kenji Goto, by Islamic State militants. Vowing to avenge the death of its 2 men, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe stressed on a departure from its foreign policy. The incident has reignited a debate on changes needed in Japan's military operations.
The brutal killings of 2 Japanese citizens by the Islamic State militants have sparked a debate over the government's policy of handling terrorism. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe reiterated his stance of a more muscular security to tackle similar hostage situations or other attacks. He said the country must relook at the extent its military can operate.
現在の段階においてはですね、もし法人があるいは NGO の方々も含めて危険な状況に陥ったときにそういう方々をですね、これは受け入れ国の了承が必要でありますが、受け入れ国の了承の中において救出することができない、輸送はできますが救出はできないという中において。
Abe also wants to boost mechanisms to ensure the safety of its people abroad. He sought to work with the international community to combat terror.
安全確保に盤石な体制を整え、国際社会と強く連携する、これがテロと対峙する唯一の道だと考えています。
A silent vigil was held outside his residence to mourn the death of Kenji Goto. The video of Goto's beheading was released less than a week after the beheading of another Japanese man, Haruna Yukawa. Meanwhile, the Jordanian pilot still remains in captivity. His family has appealed for his release to a newly formed committee undertaking the negotiation process. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now get you more international news and updates in Global Buzz. Pakistan today successfully test-fired a new indigenously developed cruise missile, Raad. It's capable of delivering nuclear and conventional warheads up to 350 kilometers, bringing many Indian cities under its range. The Pakistani army said the missile will enable strategic standoff capability on land and sea. The Pak Prime Minister and President congratulated the scientists and engineers for their achievement. The first large-scale trial of an experimental Ebola vaccine will begin in Liberia today. A small amount of a strain of the virus will be injected into 12 volunteers in order to trick the body into producing an immune response. But officials are still unclear if this would really offer protection against Ebola. Over 8,500 people have died in the outbreak, mainly in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone. China has executed 2 members of the banned Chinese Doomsday Cult for the murder of a woman in a restaurant in May 2014. The 2 were put to death after their sentences were approved by the Supreme People's Court for allegedly attempting to recruit new members. 3 other cult members were also sentenced to 10 years life and 7 years in prison for their roles in the attack. Well, some sports now, and former ICC President Sharad Pawar has decided to contest the BCCI elections to be held this year. Now, his decision comes after the Supreme Court barred N. Srinivasan from contesting the elections. Now, this is the East Zone's turn to nominate a president, which was tilted in favour of Srinivasan. Pawar, who is currently the president of the Mumbai Cricket Association, had served as BCCI president from 2005 to 2008. He was also the ICC president from 2008 to 2010. For Pawar to win, he must secure the votes of the majority of the East Zone units. Now, the BCCI elections have been postponed twice due to the Supreme Court hearing in the 2013 IPL betting and spot fixing scandal. On the 22nd of January, the Supreme Court ordered that elections should be held within the next 6 weeks. And now let's get you all the other sports news in Sports Beat. Maharashtra's netball player Mayuresh Pawar died of a cardiac arrest in Thiruvananthapuram today. Pawar was representing his state in the ongoing 35th National Games. Reports say that Pawar complained of chest pain early in the morning after playing a match against Chandigarh. The 21-year-old's condition got critical by the time he was taken to a nearby hospital. FIFA presidential candidate Jerome Champagne is out of the race after failing to win sufficient backing for his bid. Champagne needed the backing of 5 national associations for his bid, but he managed to win only 3. Meanwhile, seeking a 5th term, Sepp Blatter will now face Prince Ali of Jordan, Luis Figo and Michael van Praag for the top job at football's governing body. Arsenal defeated Aston Villa 5-0 at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday. Giroud opened the scoring in the 8th minute and the French striker returned the favour in the 56th minute before goals from Theo Walcott, Cazorla and Hector Bellerin completed a one-sided victory. It was the 5th consecutive win in all competitions for Arsenal that took them level on points with 4th place Southampton. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.
Yeah.